Like it or not, you are a walking to-do list with things you have to do, things you need to do, things you want to do. So today we're going to learn about the brain dump strategy. The brain dump method is a proven method for turning the muffled static in your head into clear signaled action. This mental exercise allows you to get everything out of your brain so that you can put it all back in again, but in a more organized way. Basically, it's like rebooting your brain every time you need a fresh start. Here's a sample of a brain dump. This is a student who's put basically everything that they have to do or thinking about doing on a list so they can see. Take a moment to examine it. The first thing you do with the brain dump method is you get it down. So you start with a blank sheet of paper and you spend 10 to 15 minutes jotting down all your to-dos. Nothing is too huge or too small for this list. Feel free to put apply to college next to buy shampoo. Here are some brain dump tips before you start your own brain dump list. Number 1, know your verbiage. As you write out each item on your list, start it with a verb. This takes a to-do list from a fuzzy concept of something that has to get done to a clear course of action. Even if you already know the action, write the verb anyway. When it comes time to do each task, you'll be glad it's laid out so simply. Here are a few examples. So remember, fuzzy is no verb. Clear action with a verb. So Scott's CD. Well, if we put a verb in front of that, text Scott about borrowing the CD. Thank you note, mom's friend. Change that with a verb. Send thank you note to mom's friend. Sweaters. Change it to fold sweaters. We know exactly what we're getting it into. It's just that easy. Tip number 2, decide to not decide. Avoid starting to-do list with the word decide. 9 times out of 10, a decision to be made is actually just an action waiting to be defined. For example, if you need to figure out which snowboard to buy, your action should be read up on snowboards. It's that easy. You get the picture. Now you should have your own brain dump list, and we're going to organize that into 3 categories. The first category is do now. You're going to apply the 3-minute rule. If you can do it in 3 minutes or less, just get it out of the way now. You can't beat the satisfaction that comes with clearing these quick things from your list, especially when you cross off the things as you go. Go ahead and try this do now step with your sample brain dump list in front of you. Category 2 is do soon. Now everything in this category has 3 things in common. 1, they take more than 3 minutes to do. 2, they are realistically possible to achieve in the near future. That means no note on Wednesday to train for this weekend's marathon. 3, they're important to you or to someone you love. Another tip for the do soon part is to use your agenda to write your do soon items. And then throughout the week, as you finish things, you can cross them out. Once you've crossed them out and the week is done, you can write your leftover things in the following week, and this way you have an ongoing list of things that you need to complete. On your sample list, go ahead and try the do soon part for some of the items. Now we're on part 3, do someday. Even if something isn't doable for you right now, it's still important to preserve the idea. This makes it more likely to happen in the future and lets you relax in the knowledge that your dreams won't be forgotten. Next thing is to keep those do somedays somewhere, and maybe in your agenda, maybe in a notebook, but keep them somewhere where you're going to continue to work on that goal and you won't forget them. Now, using the sample that was provided, go ahead and mark the do someday items on your sample. Looking at your dump list, go ahead and anything on your list that's time specific, meaning it has to be done on a particular date and time, goes in your planner. For now, just put a P next to it. Go ahead and look at your sample brain dump list and see if there's anything that's time specific and put a P next to it. Why the brain dump works? It works for 2 reasons. First, your subconscious brain can't tell the difference between realistic to-dos and goals and may not be possible given the amount of time or money you have right now. As a result, your mind can be muddled with both the doable and the impossible, and the unable to accomplish either. When you put each goal down on paper, it becomes easier to see it clearly and decide whether it's realistic. If it's not, you can either adjust the goal to make it doable or ditch it altogether. Neither of these things can happen when things are just floating around your head. Another benefit of the brain dump is that it forces you to define your goals, which is the first step to turning them into action. In fact, the act of writing down goals, even random ones that seem like wishful thinking, like mastering karate or getting your black belt, makes them much more likely to happen. I hope these tips and strategies will help you feel more focused on your goals and the things that you need to get done.